All right. Good, very good Monday to you, friends. It's actually Wednesday today at the time of this filming, but who cares? So last week we talked about, oh, and by the way, sorry I was a little bit late on getting the video out. I know I said every Monday, and it turned out to be today, Wednesday, that I put out the first week, but life got away from me, and I was being pulled in too many directions. Just didn't have time to go and work on the video. All right, so last week we talked about how emotional connection is the foundation of marriage. Really, emotional connection is the foundation of any positive relationship in our life, but especially marriage. But what's underneath the foundation? It's the bedrock, okay? Every good foundation sits on top of the bedrock. So that leads us to week 2 of the video. Now, I'm not going to say right now what it's about, but every good foundation sits on top of a good bedrock. So what's the bedrock? Well, we're going to find out. This is week 2 of our weekly video in June that we're doing on marriage. Okay, so here's our weekly verse. This is Hebrews 10:24 through 25. Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works. And let us not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of Jesus' return is drawing near. Okay, so based on that, let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and do good works for each other. Okay, so what could that be? If we're talking about motivating someone, doing acts of love and doing acts of good works and kindness, what could all that be? I'm talking about friendship. This week's video, we're going to be talking about friendship and how that is the bedrock that sits underneath the foundation of emotional connection. Okay? Whether you like it or not, friends, a good marriage is underpinned by a good friendship. It's just the way it is. There's just no getting around it. If you don't have a good friendship, then you don't have a good marriage, okay? A strong marriage is built not just on love, but liking each other. Passion and lust and just the passion, the steaminess of the relationship. There's peaks and valleys with that. Okay, there's gonna be times where that, goes up and then down and then up and down. But the one thing that needs to be consistent in all seasons of your marriage is friendship. You need to have a friendship that endures through all of life's ups and downs. Okay? Now, just speaking candidly, I will be the first to say that Aaron is the reason why the good times are great and the hard times are bearable. Okay? She makes the hard times easier on me, and she makes the good times in life ascend to a level of great. Okay? It's just the way it is. Now, last week we talked about emotional connection and how that's so important. Okay? But emotional connection begins with friendship. Okay? And last week I kind of went into how we met and how our romantic relationship kicked off. But It would have never happened if we weren't friends. Period, end of story. Our marriage was built upon not just a few weeks, not just a few months, but literally years of solid friendship, getting along, making memories, going to her house, going to my house. We were just friends. And what's so great about making a romantic relationship out of a friendship that was already there is it takes all the pressure off. You don't have to wonder what is my girlfriend's or spouse's girlfriend and then future spouse, what their favorite color is. You don't have to wonder what kind of music they like. There's no awkward getting to know you phrase. Why? Because all that's already done. Okay? And if you know you can make it as friends, then you know you can make it as romantic partners. Okay? And, my kids are 5 and 4 right now, and I can tell you it won't be too much longer before I have to start talking to them about, marriage and girls and just all the little things that will come when they, hit that preteen, teen years. And I mean, of course, I still got a few years, but boy, if it goes as fast as as fast as it's been going since they were just, since birth, man, I'm going to blink and then I'll be, answering some questions that I don't know if I really want to be talking about with my kids. But I guess the Lord will give me the strength when that time comes. Amen. But when I talk to my boys about picking a spouse and finding someone to settle down with, I will just tell them plainly that your mother and I, we were friends first. I didn't meet her at a bar or go out and go out searching. I didn't find love. Love found me. Okay, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Truly, I wouldn't. I think the way that we ended up, I think, was absolutely God's design, and I cannot recommend it enough. So if you're watching out there and maybe you're a little bit lonely right now, maybe you've never had a serious relationship before, which was my situation too, you may think like I did, I'm just destined to just be lonely. Let me just go dig a hole and sit in it so I'm no burden to anybody when I die. Literally that's how I felt. Okay? I never would have imagined that the person I was supposed to marry and have kids with was right in front of me the whole time. Never would have imagined it. But I think that's so great how that worked out. Laugh together, okay? Erin, she probably wouldn't say this to, in front of the church congregation, but she often jokes around with just her little friends and stuff, and she'll say, so how did you and David meet? And she always she goes, well, we were friends first, but, he always made me laugh. And she said, and just so you understand, funny guys are scary because, you're laughing and having fun, and then all of a sudden you don't know what happened. It's just, they're laughing and telling jokes, and then boom, you're naked. And I don't know where she got that, but it's a meme that floats around. But that's her story. Okay, now, Erin, if you're watching this, I appreciate the endorsement and I appreciate the compliment that you think I'm funny. But I guess you married for something. It certainly wasn't for looks. But no, she said that that I keep her laughing, and that was one of the major things that that sparked her interest into me. And so that brings me to my next point: is laugh together. Humor creates connection. Okay, it's hard to find any sort of friendship anywhere. Ask anybody. It's hard to find any two people that are friends that have never ever made each other laugh. Okay? I mean, this is something I've wanted to do for a long time, and maybe I'll get the courage to actually do it, but I need a cameraman. So if you're out there watching this and you wouldn't mind volunteering your time, I need a cameraman. But I don't need a cameraman. I need a cameraman who's not shy, because I've been wanting, something I've had a vision for a long time is to like go out, maybe Miller Outdoor Theater, or, you know, somewhere just like in a public, you know, kind of where people are going to be just passing by and all these things, and just taking the microphone and saying, you know, asking questions. But if you go out in public and you ask any two people that are clearly friends and ask them, hey, y'all are friends? Yeah, we're friends. Have y'all ever laughed together? Oh, of course we have. I mean, what kind of question is that? You know, I would actually go as far as to say it is almost impossible to have a friendship where the two people have not laughed together. Laughter creates connection, and it builds resilience and joy, and it makes it fun. It's fun to laugh. Okay? And playfulness, silliness, inside jokes, those are all underrated tools for bonding. Okay? It's so important. Now, my next point, let me see what kind of time we're going. Okay, we're doing great on time. My last point, or not my last point, but I bet you wish it was. God, does this guy ever shut up? He just keeps rambling and rambling, talking about things. I just get to the point, Dave. I know, I see some of y'all. I'm going, come on. Not my last point, but point number 4. Friends support each other's growth. Okay? This is something that I really have a heart for, and we'll talk about this in video number 4. But guys, friendship is absolutely okay. Well, let me back up. Supporting each other's needs, goals, wants, desires, dreams, that is a huge component of any good friendship. Okay? To have someone who you say is a friend, and yet they don't help you reach your goals or support you through the things that you want in this life, the things that are important to you in this life, dare I say, they're not really a legitimate friend. I mean, and I'm sorry if that ruffles some feathers, but seriously. And I think, you know what? I think I'm not going to share what I was about to share, because it's just not good to air out dirty laundry to the public, okay? You keep your issues private, you keep your praises public, and you let that be that, okay? But yeah, I'm just not even going to go there. But this is something that I really, really have a heart for, because I can tell you beyond the shadow of any doubt, if it's important to you, it's important to your spouse. And vice versa. If it's important to your spouse, it's important to you. Not all the time, but especially if we're getting ready for a cruise, Aaron will say, you know, Dave, I really want to take, you know, some money, and I want to get my nails done. I want to have my nails look pretty, and my toes look pretty too. Do you think? No, honestly. I mean, just level with me. Do you honestly think that I care about how my fingernails and my toenails look? I mean, seriously. Exactly. I couldn't care less. Literally could not care less about what my hands and what my toes look like, okay? I don't care about it, okay? But the fact that that is something that is important to Erin, being the perfect husband I am, I always say yes. Because if it's important to her, it's important to me. And just so you understand, people may not understand my humor. Laughing is important, folks. It builds connection. I am not a perfect husband, okay? That was complete sarcasm, and I just, please disregard that and just understand that that was a joke, and I believe right now that God has 100% vindicated me from that, because y'all know that I'm not a perfect husband. Not even close. So, but I always try to say yes as much as I can, because if it's important to her, it's important to me. Doesn't mean that I understand it or that I get it. Doesn't mean that at all. But if it's important to her, it's important to me. And that's what friends do, okay? Any friendship that is all take, and no give, it's not a friendship. That's a parasite sort of situation, okay? Fifth point, you have to handle conflict like friends, okay? Do y'all know what the 80-20 rule is, okay? It basically says that in the most ideal situation, but really for most of us, this is not going to be 80%. But even like there is no perfect marriage, but if there ever was, even in the most ideal, picture perfect, as close to flawless as possible marriages, you will never, ever, ever get higher than 80% of your needs met in any one person. Never, ever. Even in the best situations, most psychologists, marriage therapists, the research has been done, it's completely clear that you're only going to get about 80% of your needs met in any one person, okay? So if you're a math whiz like, me and my mom, then you know that 80% is 4/5, okay? So even in the best case scenario, there always is going to be 1/5 of your needs, right, that are not going to be met by your spouse, okay? So what does that mean? There's going to be room for conflict. There's going to be some issues that you're going to have to iron out, okay? Friends handle conflict maturely, okay? You don't have to agree with everything that your spouse does. You don't have to agree with everything that they want, okay? And you don't have to get a rubber stamp either. Yes, babe. Yes, babe. Yes, babe. Yes, babe. Yes. Just get a stamp. Yes, 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 yes. Okay? I've heard this story called The Dark Side of the Moon, okay, when it comes to marriages. And the dark side of the moon is basically where you have this couple and they are always this, just picture perfect fairy tale kind of situation, and you go and you say, hey, here, you meet them for dinner, here, have a seat, we say these for you. Oh, hey guys, thanks for meeting us here. And they're always super cheery and always super smiley and always posting cute pictures on Facebook, and some knucklehead that's nosy might go up to them and ask them, do y'all ever fight? No, we don't fight, right, John?
Yeah, babe, but we never fight.
Y'all never fought? No, he loves me. He just says yes to me. Okay? That is one of the most dangerous things that you could do for your life and your marriage life. Okay? And this is something that I have really fallen into. Okay? It's deception. I believe it's from the devil, okay? But it's a big fat lie. And the lie goes like this. My spouse hurt me. She did something that I didn't like. I know if I bring it up, it's going to kill the mood. It's going to drive a wedge. She may start crying and hurt her feelings, and she may say things to me that I don't like, and so then it becomes this or that and this or that. And I don't want to disrupt the peace. So I'm going to swallow my feelings, tuck them underground, and pretend they're not there, and I'm just going to avoid this conflict. Okay? And I'm all for avoiding conflict. And one of my life verses is the juice, not verses like Bible verse, but one of my life mottos is the juice worth the squeeze? Is the effort that it would take for me to bring this up and then talk about it for however long we got to talk about it and hash this out and do all these things and blah, 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 is that effort worth the results that would come of that? And that's not just in my marriage, that's in all aspects of life. The other day, I really wanted mint chocolate chip ice cream, but we didn't have any. And I was one frog hair away from jumping in my car and going to the store and going and getting mint chocolate chip ice cream. But it was rush hour traffic. I was just physically exhausted. And so, thinking all that through, I decided that the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. In other words, the ice cream was not worth the heartache it would take for me to get it. Okay? It just wasn't. So, in your marriage, there's going to be times where you're going to have to ask yourself, is bringing this up worth the effort that it would take for me to talk about it and come together on this deal? Now, you may say, well, Dave, that's exactly my point. I don't like fighting, and I just don't really want to. But see, that is a very dangerous place to be, because you may not feel like it, and you may be able to produce plenty of evidence and say, well, Dave, certainly that's not happening to me, because if it was, this is what would happen. But I'm telling you, beyond the shadow of a doubt, it may be 5 months, 5 years, or 5 decades. But eventually, you not being forthcoming and bringing things up when your spouse does something to bother you or get on your nerves, or maybe it's a big hurt, you constantly, every single time, looking the other way and pretending it's not there, that is going to build resentment. And one day you will look up and you will ask yourself, how in the world did I fall out of love with this woman? We were high school sweethearts. We were, prom king and queen. I mean, how in the world did this happen? It's because you didn't see it at the time, but slowly but surely, it's like a termite infestation. Okay, I had a friend who had termites. He didn't know it. He had no clue it was going on. But deep inside, behind his walls, they were just slowly eating away at his house. They were slowly just chipping away. And one day he woke up and he realized that his house was just had dissolved right before his very eyes. Everything looked fine on the outside, but on the inside it was just eating away. It was being just wasted away. Okay? So you cannot just always, for the sake of peace, look the other way. But friends fight fair. Okay? And maybe I'll do one video, but if you're really fighting fair, and I've just got to say this, if you're really doing it right, and you may not know this may be a mind blown, but it's true. Just listen to me. If you're really fighting correctly, conflict actually strengthens your friendship. It doesn't drive a wedge. It actually makes your friendship, makes your marriage tighter and closer. I'm telling you, friends, I wouldn't lie to you. I promise you that's the case. All right. Okay, test. Okay, guys, sorry, I'm back. I had to reset the camera. Okay. Two more points. I know I'm getting long-winded here. 6th point. Why this is not number 1, I don't know. Okay? But y'all remember last week where I talked about how time is your greatest asset? Do y'all remember that? Here, let's cut to it. Time is your most valuable asset because you can always make money. You know, if you have $5 and you spend it, tomorrow you can go to work and you can remake those $5. It will return to you. But time is something you will never ever get back. Even this very moment, you will never ever be able to get that back. Time is your greatest asset. More than silver, more than gold, more than money. You can always get those things back. Okay? If I spend my whole paycheck on a PS5, honey, please, before the end of the year, please, PS5. Okay, anyways, I just had to throw that in there. If I spend all of my money that I would usually spend on food on a PS5, I wouldn't do that, by the way. But if I did, even though that'd be a heck of a weight loss plan, and I mean, my God, folks, if there's ever someone who needed a good weight loss plan, it'd be me. This tummy that I got. Anyways, here we go. If I spent all of my money that I usually buy groceries with on a PlayStation 5, I could get that back. I'll get paid again. You will never, ever, ever get 1 minute back from your life. You won't. And guys, I have really struggled. I mean, I want to be candid. I want to be honest. I feel like one thing that God has really opened my eyes to is that I have, for so long now, wanted what I call the storybook, which is because it's something I never had. Now, I must confess, Brad Simmons, if you're listening, I love you very much. And I mean, it's no secret. There are stepdads out there that have done 1/10 of the things that you've done for me, and they've made it into the history books as a great stepdad. Okay? So let me just make that clear before I even start. But let's just call a spade a spade. I never grew up in my upbringing with my biological dad and biological mother, what we call the nuclear family. Okay? I, like a lot of people, grew up in a blended family. Okay? And I can't resent my upbringing too bad because that's what got me here. Okay? But I am, and this is something that the Lord has really opened my eyes and given me convictions about, is that I am so obsessed with the storybook. Dave, what is the storybook? The storybook, fairy tale, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but it's basically this whole idea that from the outside looking in, I have it made. From the outside, looking in, he's got a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful healthy kids, and he's got this beautiful home with the white picket fence and the house on Maple Street, and he's a police officer and she's a teacher, and you know what, I mean, what could be more Americana traditional family values than that. And I go to great lengths to show people just how great my life has turned out. And my God, man, I look at the pictures that David posts, and boy, if I just had his life, my life would be so much better. He has the storybook. He has the fairy tale. But you know what, folks? I'm not as much of a fairy tale as I would have you believe. I'm really not. And I'm just being candid. My phone rings several times a day with debt collectors. See, it all started with me being on top of the world. I had it made financially. Oh man, I was making more money. I made more money by myself in 2024 than any time that I'd ever worked when Aaron and I were both working. Okay? I was so blessed financially. It was just great. But just as it's like it was like a Jenga tower. Oh man, the tower was being built and it was so great, but I didn't realize that the tower was about to fall. And now I'm just now getting back to a place financially where I am decent. And I'm not even saying good. I'm just saying, okay. So I don't have a storybook. Now, I'll go, like I said, I've gone to great lengths, and that's something I've really had convictions about. But I am realizing now that being transparent and being open is such a better strategy than putting on a show for anybody. But anyways, what does that have to do with friendship? And I'm sorry, that was a long, really just stupid story to tell you. Number 6, friendship needs time. Okay, and what does all that have to do with friendship needing time? Even though I am in really poor financial straits right now, my marriage is better now than it has been since Joshua was born. Aaron and I are connecting. We have time for each other every day. When I come home each and every day, we have a meal together. In the almost 11 years that we've been married, I've never been able to do that. Never, ever, ever. Okay? And I will tell you, with all the financial troubles that I'm having right now, I would not trade them for even 1 second. To neglect what I have going on right now. And I will tell you, I would rather have the financial situation that I am right now and improve my marriage than have all the money in the world but never get to spend time with my family. Truly, honestly, I really believe that. And one thing that I've really learned through this is just the value of time. Okay? I'm not saying don't pay your debts. I'm not saying that you shouldn't just try to live financially healthy. Okay? I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that you have absolutely got to prioritize your family first. Okay? Because nothing in this world can buy you time. Okay? So, friendship needs time. I think last week I talked about how you need to be sitting down with your spouse. Every single day, you need to have at least a daily check-in. That's why I love having a meal, because typically in my house, the way it works is our small kids Matthew and Joshua will just kind of sit and watch a show, and then Aaron and I will actually go sit at the dinner table, and we connect. We talk, hey, how's your day going? It was good. Did anything interesting happen today? No, nothing. No. Well, the kids did go to the they went to the splash pad. How was that? Oh, it was good. Well, how about your day, honey?
Well, my day was great, and
I had a few care concerns, and I had some grievances that I had to take care of, and oh really? Oh, so it sounds like a busy day. Oh yeah, it was busy, but you know what? I like those busy days because they make the day go by fast. We connect every single day, and that is why my marriage is the best it has been in years. Okay, date nights important, and also hobbies. Okay. Aaron said the other day, hey, come learn pickleball with me. I don't care about pickleball, okay? I have 2 left feet. Honestly, seriously, that's how bad I am at sports. But the other day, Aaron asked me to come learn pickleball with her. Now, I worked all day. I was tired. I was worn out. Do you think I honestly had an interest in learning pickleball? Absolutely not. But it was an opportunity to have a hobby, to have something that I could share in time with my wife, and so I went. You need a hobby together, okay? One person may really enjoy it, and the other person may just kind of be about it, okay? But regardless if it's something you really want to have happen or if it's something you're just doing for the sake of your wife, don't look at it as I'm doing it for the sake of my wife. Do it for the sake of your marriage. And when you put that in context like that, then you understand the value of it, okay? So find a hobby. It may not be something that you are extremely excited about, but it'll be something you can live with. And through that process, y'all will connect and build your friendship. Now, my last point. I know, I see some of y'all. My last point, protect the friendship, okay? There's just no good way that I can make a marriage video without somehow throwing this in there because it is so important. You have to protect the friendship. Just like last week, I'm going to reiterate the fact and drive this home. I will never stop talking about it, never, ever, ever, because it is so important. You never, ever, ever develop an emotional connection with someone of the opposite sex that's not your spouse. Just don't allow it to happen. Period, plain and simple. Okay? I can't wait till video number 5, and I'm going to deep dive, and you're going to say, oh my gosh, I didn't know about that, Dave. Okay? Just remember when I said earlier that I don't have the storybook marriage life that I so just vehemently try to portray? I really don't. And I can't wait till week number 5. And I'm going to go in to just how much I don't have a storybook marriage and life. But just for now, don't ever develop an emotional connection with someone of the opposite sex. That's all I'm going to say for right now. But my last point, that was just a good time to throw that in there. My last point, protect the friendship. Protect the friendship. Okay? Friendships don't happen accidentally. I think they can develop accidentally, but I don't think they are sustained accidentally. It takes effort on both parts. Okay? And I love Erin because she does this so often, and oftentimes I jump on her and I say, well, I can't believe blah, 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 blah. Okay? But she often has to remind me, well, no, Dave, I have. No, I have. Okay? You just didn't know it because I never brought it to your attention. But best believe I said, no. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your marriage and for the friendship is the little word no. No. I'm busy. Erin's busy. And I hate to say it, it's changing, okay? I really feel that. We went out with some of my friends to Presley's last night. Had a wonderful time. But so it's changing. But by and large, throughout our marriage, Erin has always had more groups or more friendships that she's associated with. And me, I'm just kind of, maybe I'm not a nice person. I don't know. I don't have a lot of friend groups like that, okay? Erin gets invited a lot to things. She is busy, and I think that's commendable. I think that's great. The people that are around her are able to see the light that the Holy Spirit has given her. And every time she is out spending time with people, doing things, she is sharing the love of Jesus. So it's a great thing that she is out there in the world and like that. However, sometimes the greatest thing that she does for our marriage is says no. Hey, a group of us are going axe throwing on Friday night. Do you want to come? Gonna have to pass this time. My husband, that's his off day, and I really just want to enjoy spending time with him. Well, you can hang out with him next time. Come on, it's axe throwing. It's fun. No. Sometimes the biggest blessing you can give your spouse is the little word no. You can't say yes to everything. And like I said before, growth and friendship and connection, they don't happen by accident. And it's not maybe, it's not if, it's when. There will be times that you will have to prioritize, okay, am I going to make this event, or am I going to spend time with my spouse? Okay? There will be times. Okay? And, you say, well, I can't say no because that might hurt this person's feelings. Okay? When you say no, there's going to be hurt feelings. That's another thing that I've really been learning lately. And if you're in a position of leadership, there will be times, this is something I'm really learning right now, and I think it's great. There will be times where you're going to have to make some tough choices. And there will be times where you ruffle some feathers, okay? You will never, ever, ever, at the end of your life, and your life it's a playbook, you will never, ever, ever regret long term hurting someone's feelings for the sake of edifying your marriage. You won't. You just won't. Okay? It may be painful, and it may be difficult to have to let people down. But eventually, if you make your marriage a priority, things will be better. I promise you. Okay? Golly, I'm getting so long-winded. Protect the friendship, friends. Protect the friendship. Protect the friendship, and you protect the marriage. Okay? Let's pray. Father, thank you for everyone watching and listening right now, Lord. I thank you that it falls on good ground, that somehow, some way, that everyone who has been watching and listening has learned something new, and maybe right now you've had them come across this message to tug at their heartstrings and to hold up a mirror about something that they may or may not be doing in their marriage, Lord. And I just pray right now, Lord, that they would not just be hearers of the word, but be doers of the word. If there's something that I've said or that you spoke to their heart through me, Lord, that they wouldn't just brush it off and, just think, oh yeah, whatever. But they would really put it into practice, and they would really make some lifestyle changes if they need to. Lord, you created marriage, you officiated the first wedding, Lord, and you did it on the bedrock of friendship, Lord. And so we just thank you for our spouses. We thank you for the friendship that we have with them, Lord. And I just pray right now that everyone watching and listening, that if it's not the case already, that you would put in lifestyle changes and give them suggestions by your Holy Spirit of ways that their spouse can get back to being their number one friendship in this life. Because at the end of the day, our friends at our job, our friends at our clubs, at our youth groups, at our church groups, those are all temporary. The one friendship that is literally built to last a lifetime is the friendship between a husband and wife. And you're glorified through that friendship. And Lord, I just pray, Lord, that you would help me to be a good friend to Aaron. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Guys, I know I normally close out right after the prayer, but I've just got to tell you this. Next week's video may go a little bit over. We are talking about sex, coitus, physical intimacy, however you want to talk about it. Procreation. Well, not really procreation. How we procreate. We're talking about sex, and I've just got to forewarn you. I have such a giant laundry list of things that I want to talk about because, like, you know, usually I have to ask ChatGPT, and I'm like, okay, well, what are some things, if I wanted to talk about this, like, what are some things that I should highlight, or what are some things, but this next week's video, we're talking about sex, and I have a lot that I want to say. I feel, well, you know what, I don't even want to get into it. Join me next week because you won't want to miss this. We're going to be taking a deep dive into sex, marriage, love, and all that. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll see you next time, folks.